What you want, when you want it, where you want it. This is The Mesh.
Caring for an older adult often means finding ways to make daily life safer, easier, and more enjoyable. Today, we're here to offer caregiving tips from 3 active family caregivers, as well as some ideas to make your caregiving journey better or perhaps even a little lighter. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
I used to think healthcare was all the same until I discovered Pace at home. Now I can come to a place to stay active, see the doctor, or just enjoy a meal with my friends. Plus, having a team of people that help me make sense of my options gives me the support I need to stay in charge of my own health. It's been life-changing.
With Pace at Home, we offer a unique lineup of personalized care and a caring staff that feels like family, all under one roof. Call today and discover a community of caring delivered at your own pace.
Welcome. I'm your host, Karen Summey, with ACAPcommunity and an active family caregiver. If you're listening to our live broadcast, today is Friday, November 7, 2025 at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. We're delighted to have you with us. I have 2 guests in the studio with me today. First, Dr. Jane Everson is no stranger to ACAP. In fact, she was one of the founding partners who helped ACAPcommunity become a 501c3 nonprofit organization. She also helped provide the structure for our existing community caregiving programs. Jane holds an earned PhD in urban services and has decades of experience working with organizations and individuals dealing with disabilities. Jane lives in Hickory, North Carolina with her husband Jeff, and she's the primary caregiver for her 93-year-old mother. Welcome, Jane.
Welcome. Thank you.
Great. Glad to have you. Next, I have Mrs. Catherine Hague. Catherine is a recent North Carolina resident who moved from Houston, Texas, to help care for her brother, who has Lewy body dementia and Parkinson's disease. She's a retired English and creative writing teacher and also a certified teacher for Abydos Learning International, where she conducted workshops on creative writing. Finally, Catherine has spent countless hours volunteering for ACAP to help bring you to today's podcast and caregiver shopping guide. Thank you, Catherine, and welcome.
Happy to be here.
Great. Okay. Today we're offering practical caregiving tips and also some product ideas that could help you in your caregiving journey. Whether you're a family caregiver, a friend, or a loved one, the upcoming holidays may be stressful as you ponder yet again, what can I give to my loved ones for the holidays? Personally, that gets harder and harder for me, and I've been gathering ideas for my own family. We hope you'll learn about products or devices for older adults that you didn't know about or haven't researched, and how to do a little comparison shopping as you seek products that can assist you or those in your care. We've selected products that can bring comfort, confidence, and independence, which of course we could all use every day. We've curated these into a dedicated shopping guide for shopping during the holidays or year-round. Inside the guide, you'll find ideas for accessible living solutions for the home, either installed or portable, assistive technology, both high and low tech, personal care items, leisure and lifestyle tools and supplies, mobility aids, and adaptive clothing that support both physical well-being and emotional connection. Each item in this guide is chosen with dignity, practicality, and quality of life in mind. Now, just one more thing before we begin our tips and shopping guide. It's important for you to know that ACAP does not endorse or promote specific brands or products. Instead, we hope to inspire ideas and highlight the types of items that can be especially useful for older adults and their caregivers. We encourage you to compare features, quality, pricing, and suppliers among different options to find out what fits best for your loved one's needs and budget. With full transparency, please know that ACAPcommunity receives a small compensation for items listed with Amazon affiliate links at no additional cost to you, and we do appreciate your support of our nonprofit organization. Okay, ladies, let's dive in and talk about our first tip. I'd like each one of us to answer the question first off, what is a gift? Because, people have very different ideas about that. And so in particular, let's frame our responses in light of caregiving and care receiving. Catherine, what's a gift?
Well, really, a gift is anything that you want it to be. Being a former English teacher, I had to look up the word gift just to get the perspective of what it said. And I love this definition because it says something given voluntarily without payment in return as to show favor towards someone. I love that line, as to show favor towards someone, honor an occasion, or make a gesture of assistance. Wow, how well does that fit in? Make a gesture of assistance.
Absolutely.
A present. So oftentimes, no matter what it was, if I was giving my mother, I would walk in the door at the assisted living with, one of those beautiful drinks from Starbucks. And I would say, I have a present just for you. Mm-hmm. Arranging a friend of hers to come. A gift is anything you want it to be, but something that helps that person feel better or helps them manage their daily living.
That's an excellent start. Jane, how about you? What is a gift to you?
I'd agree with what Catherine said. I think a gift is something that you give freely to someone, and particularly when we're talking about someone who's older or someone who might have some mobility or intellectual disabilities, it should be something that's going to make their life easier. And I'm real big on the term partial participation, which means that if you can find something that'll help somebody participate a little bit more in an activity than they might currently do. So if they can't get dressed completely, but they're frustrated about that, a gift might be something that helps them dress a little bit more independently.
Right. Okay. Well, for myself, my definition has changed drastically over the years. I was also or always a person who would appreciate a gift card. I thought that was marvelous because, I like to go buy what I want. And that guaranteed that it would be both practical and useful and something that I would actually use and not something that just kind of laid around in my house and created clutter and that I had to hold on to for years because I felt obligated because it was a gift. A lot of people are that way. And so that's not really my idea of a gift that I really want. And I'll tell a quick story. The best gift I ever got in my life from my husband, and we've been married for over 40 years, so that's a lot of Christmases. He knows that I have this incredibly dry skin. And so out of the blue, he just for Christmas morning got me a Petty Perfect, which I will add to the gift guide. I haven't done that yet, but I will add it. And it just really helped me to do my own pedicure and take care of my skin. And I have loved that so much over the years that the original wore out, and I bought myself another one because it was just so useful a tool to me that I just couldn't imagine being without it. So that's my favorite of all time. Now, who would think about something for foot care as a Christmas gift? Maybe not a lot of people, but it was fabulous. And I've told him over the years.
Made your life easier.
It does make my life a lot easier. So our hope is that as you listen today about our gift guide, that you'll consider your gift recipient's definition of a gift and decide whether anything in our guide meets your criteria for what a gift really is. And if not, hopefully we're giving you some ways to search and ways to find other things that maybe you didn't know about. So hopefully that's what we'll give you today. All right, so let's start with our caregiving tips in our shopping guide. I mentioned that we have item categories for accessible solutions and assistive technology. Jane, you're our disabilities person, and so you have decades of experience working with people with disabilities. So can you tell us the difference in the terms accessible and assistive?
I will do my best. I will tell you that those terms are frequently used interchangeably, and you may also hear the word adaptive technology. So don't get too hung up in the categories. Just know that all three of them might be used, and they might be used by different professions as well as by different catalogs. But if I were to differentiate them, I would say that assistive technology is something that we all use every day. With the passage of the Americans with Disability Act in 1990, we are now privy to tons and tons of assistive technology that I think we take for granted every day. And that includes things like large print books that we can check out from the library, ramps that are readily available in most buildings now, jar grippers that we sometimes get even at giveaways at senior expos, cheater eyeglasses that you can pick up easily at even the dollar store, magnifying screens, enhanced lighting that, again, we can see throughout our neighborhoods as well as for use at home, hiking sticks, which some of us use instead of canes, captioning, which is readily available now in movie theaters as well as on television. Reachers, grab bars, we forget about or take advantage of accessible parking quite frequently. Ring doorbells and other sorts of Echo and Amazon devices for voice recognition are all examples of assisted technology. Now, on the other hand, adaptive technology is something that is typically designed specifically for someone, and someone with a disability or someone with a special need. So it could be someone with a developmental disability, someone who has a disability as a result of an injury or a disease, or just lowered mobility or lowered cognitive abilities as a result of aging. So adaptive technology is typically not used by someone without a disability. It's individualized to the needs of the person and might include wheelchairs, walkers, Hoya lifts or other kinds of transfer devices, oxygen concentrators, bath chairs, communication aids, specialized keyboards, and adaptive switches. Those are all considered to be adaptive technology. Whether it's assistive or whether it's adaptive, it can be, as Karen said, high-tech or low-tech. It can be homemade or it can be professionally purchased. The only other thing I would add is durable medical equipment, which can be accessible or adapted. The only reason that term is used differently is because durable medical equipment must be prescribed by a medical professional, and it is always covered by Medicare or Medicaid. The others, assistive and adaptive, may or may not be, depending upon the person and their needs.
Right. And when we get into the shopping guide, you'll see some examples of things that may or may not be covered by Medicare, depending on their classification, but the category fits. So there may be individual products that you'll have to check to see whether they're permissible or not. All right. Thank you for that great explanation. We're going to turn to our shopping guide and show our audience some of the items we found in these categories. And I will tell you that I've done my best to differentiate between accessible and assistive, but there are probably things that need to be moved. So if you're looking for something in those categories, please look at both of them to see if we have what you need. All right. The first category we want to look at today is accessible living solutions for the home. And I'll have another word when we pull some things up, because I want to tell you about the pricing that you see in the shopping guide, which is the full retail price. And when we get into the actual products, I'll show you that many, many, many of these products are discounted or on a promotion at this time. So when you are looking through and clicking the links, be aware that you might find lower prices than what you see in our guide. Okay. First up, accessible living solutions. So let's pull up the first product that we want to talk about. These are stair treads. You may or may not have noticed, and you would learn something like this from a certified aging in place specialist. They talk a lot about how to make the home prepped and ready for people who are aging and may have some issues, and stair treads are a good example of that. For example, if you have your stairs painted, but the the actual riser on the stair is one color and the top of that stair is another color, that's very good because you can tell the difference between the riser and the stair as you go up and down. Down is even more difficult because you can't see the riser coming down. But these stair treads you can put on your risers and you can see where each step comes down or goes up. So that's a good thing for visibility. And ladies, if you have other comments about these, just jump in. Okay. Next item. All right, grab bars. These are so handy in a house that is accessible for anyone who has disabilities or is aging. And these are installed grab bars. And ladies, I know you want to talk about these grab bars, so what tips do you have?
Well, I just think for myself and my husband, now that we're using grab bars, it's very uncomfortable for me. It's very scary to be someplace where they aren't there. And we have a lot of older people who come and stay with us, and it's just a must. Because if you don't have something to grab onto and a nice mat in the shower, it's very unsafe. And I would not get the bars that are not actually installed in the shower.
Type, for example.
Yeah, because they can come undone, and boy, what a mess that would be if you're showering and fall back through the glass or outside of the tub. That would be absolutely horrible. So we encourage you to look for the grab bars that have to be installed. And, you know, I'm sure that even where you purchase them, sometimes you can get a name of someone who can help you with that.
That's right. So a lot of the stores where you would purchase these will have installers or a list of installers where you can get them to put them in for you. Some of these, if you're putting them into a wood frame or something like that, it's not difficult. If you want to put them into like ceramic tile or something, you might consider an installer, or at least check an expert on how to do that safely without destroying your tile.
Yeah, and I would only add to that Catherine's point is very important. This is something that is generally considered part of universal design, and that we all really should be looking at bathrooms that have these kinds of safety features, whether you have children or whether you're young or middle-aged or elderly. It really is something critically important. The only other thing I would add to that is if you have the opportunity to have an occupational therapist or a physical therapist working with you, that person can help you make sure that you get them aligned with that person's height or needs. You know, we've got tall men, we've got shorter women, we've got people in wheelchairs, and one size does not fit all.
And, you know, disabilities can happen at any age, too. Although we're focused on older adults and seniors, there are many, many people who have people in their households who do have disabilities, and these are useful for everyone.
Absolutely.
Okay, we're going to move on down to portable accessible solutions for the home. And so the next item is an elongated hinged toilet seat riser. Now, I am very appreciative that, you know, that toilet seats come in many heights. And so there are standard ones which are fairly low, and then you can go to your hardware store and buy one that has a taller seat on it in the beginning. But if you don't have that ability or the budget to do that, these seat risers are a great tool to use, where you just put them on there. They can be removed for cleaning or whatever.
They're great for travel.
Yeah, oh, good idea. Yes,
well, you
travel.
know, Karen, the house that we moved from in Houston, we had been in that home for 33 years. When my mother moved out of her home, they had been in that home for over 30 years. And most of those homes have the low toilet. This was an absolute game changer when I had a knee replacement.
Yes.
When I had my second knee replacement, my husband had ordered, you know, the taller toilet. But this can really make a difference for someone who has difficulty rising, whether it's from surgery or just from age and being weak. And if they don't have the taller toilet, I would highly recommend to order a riser for the seat.
And, people are going to go home for the holidays very soon. And it's always nice when you go home for the holidays to be observant. If you're going to see your parents, what is life looking like for them? Can they get up from a chair easily, or are they having to, depend on the armchair or a walking cane or something else to help them get up? Do they have a lift chair? Dining room tables are not always very high either. Are they having to rely on the table in front of them to kind of press themselves up? These are all signs that these toilet seats are important too. Because if they can't get up out of those regular chairs, they can't get up from that either. So, yes, absolutely. And the next thing is we have this bedside commode. So some of our folks are going to have a little problem with mobility and getting to the restroom maybe during the night or whatever. And these are very portable and can be placed in a bedroom or wherever you need them to help people take care of those situations.
Karen, for about 8 years, my husband and I would take my mother to our Sunday school class and to church, and many times I was embarrassed in Sunday school class because she would tell family secrets. But anyway, at first,
are like that. Yes,
she could use the walker, and she could go in the downstairs bathroom. Then when she became wheelchair bound, that wheelchair would not fit in there. And so we got the bedside commode, and on Sundays it was in the office. I would take her in and close the doors. And, it really saved the day, because having to lift her and get her onto the toilet seat in that small bathroom, it was very difficult. It was very upsetting for her. And that is what I did not want. So this was really great to just have that available, and it's in the other room. We take it in on Sunday morning. We take it out, Sunday afternoon, and it's there. Makes things a lot easier.
Right. And we really want to focus on keeping our family and our loved ones' dignity and quality of life. And so their comfort and safety and dignity are right up there at the top of the list on what we should be doing for those that we care for. Okay, next item up, we have a very simple tool here. This is very low tech. This is a full-page magnifying glass. I use one of those at times. How about you all?
Well, I do too, and I also have every kind of magnifier, not just the one you hold in your hand, but the thin bar that you can use, the full page magnifier. I think it's really great to have several things around the house, because if I'm not wearing my contact lenses, it's very difficult for me to see. My mother was a voracious reader, and she had such difficulty. My brother was a voracious reader, and he has such difficulty. So we had the aids beside their chair, on the bedside table, several places, so it could be easy for them to go ahead and look at a magazine or some type of print.
And that brings to mind, we don't want to have these tools that are a distance from our care recipient, because then they may not be able to get up and go get it. I mean, especially if mobility is an issue, it needs to be in close proximity to them at all times where they're doing the activities. And that may require a little bit of organizational skill to try to set up little stations for our family so that when they need something, they can just reach and grab it. Otherwise, caregivers are going to get awfully tired, and we know that happens a lot. So, yes, make it easier on yourself and put those in close proximity. All right, up next, we have an adjustable height chairlift assist. And this literally fits under a sofa or a chair under the leg. And if you have furniture that is cushioned and springy, and sometimes people have a hard time getting up from that, this gives them a handle. It gives them something to hold to pull themselves up. And there are numbers of these. They come in all kinds of varieties. This is the one we're showing. We have some more in the guide, but they're really handy to have, and they're portable. If you don't need them, or if you just need them during the holidays, you can move them right out again and store them somewhere. Okay. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is a call bell. Now, some people will hate me for putting this in there because that suggests that somebody's going to call you. Well, yes, that's true. We have these in our house in case one of us is sick and really just needs to stay in bed and rest. So if we really need something desperately and we just don't feel like getting up to get it or whatever when we're not feeling well, then this is the kind of thing that we have. And also, if you have someone in the household who is a little unstable and they may need to get up out of bed and don't think they can get up quickly enough, they might call you with this. So it can be an emergency little bell as well. So yes. Okay. Next up, we have some pill organizers. Now, let's just see, ladies. Do you have these? Do you have these?
Oh, that's how I know what day of the week it is.
Right, absolutely.
Well, me too, yes. Actually, we have an alarm clock in here in a little while that we're going to talk about that again. But yes, these come in every variety you can possibly imagine. This is a low-tech organizer. It doesn't have a lot of bells and whistles. It does have a pill splitter in the case. It has 2 times a day compartments for 31 days of the month. And some of them, and I'm looking at this, I'm not sure whether this one does, but some of them are lockable so that you could lock your pills inside a case or in a storage container for your medications, so that if you have young people or people who are not able to know that they should stay out of that, this helps you to keep a safe situation. Okay. There's my alarm clock. I personally have this alarm clock. I absolutely love it. And why do I? I am semi-retired. I don't always know what day of the week it is until I get a little bit more awake, and I have a pill I need to take first thing when I wake up. And so this is my safeguard, and especially as I age, I know what day of the week it is when I look at my alarm clock that is sitting right beside my pill box. I even know the date. I know what the temperature is out. No, actually, this is an inside temperature, so wow, it was hot in that building wherever they took that photograph. It must have been the lights. And it gives me the time. It has a couple of alarms on it. I can change the tone of the alarm. It's just like a smartphone where you can change all the ringtones. I can change the ringtones on my alarm clock, so I don't have to have that jarring thing that wakes me up in the morning. It's a very gentle one that I've selected. And I can also adjust the light, the brightness of the light in this clock. So there are a lot of features I like about that. So yeah, I've been pleased with that one.
I'd like to just add that there's also on the market, and we don't have it in this catalog, but I'm sure we can find it, vibrating alarm clocks that work really well for people who may have some cognitive impairment or people who can't hear. And they can be programmed to be either alarm clocks or smoke alarms. And that gives a lot more independence to people who may not hear the smoke alarm, may not hear the doorbell, may not hear the alarm clock. In fact, just a quick funny story. When my nephew went away to college, he was, as many young men are, someone who slept 15 or 16 hours a day, and you really couldn't wake him up. So I got him one as a joke to take away to college, and he used it every day his first semester to make sure he didn't sleep through his 8 o'clock alarm for class. So they work.
That's hilarious. I love it. Okay, then we have something to store your medications in. You know, we showed you the organizer for the pills that you're loading the pill box for the month, and this is just an absolute storage box. And some people have one or the other, but not both. So this is something to consider, and this has a large compartment in the bottom of it that it'll hold a good amount of things in it. So consider a storage bag as well. All right, next up. All right. I can see the smiles across the country as people see this pop up on the screen. The Grabber Reacher tool. Yay! We have like 3 or 4 of these in our house, and a lot of rooms, because we drop things and they may go behind a table or a sofa or wherever. In the kitchen, there may be things that we're reaching for up in the cabinets and we can't quite get there. And these are so handy. This one is a higher quality one. I encourage you to look at customer reviews. And on that note, let me point that out. Underneath the title of each of the products in these listings, you'll see that there are customer reviews. Right now, just immediately below the title, you can see 4.6. That's on a scale of 5. So everything that we put into this shopping guide had at least a 4.0 out of 5. We didn't put anything with lesser reviews than that. And you can see how many people have reviewed each product as well. Also, I'd like to point out the pricing on these products. And the one we're looking at now is $24.99 retail. In some of the listings, and I'll point one out the next time I see one, you'll see that so many things may be on discount or promotion. And so whatever we have in the shopping guide, be sure to look for lesser pricing, because we will have other things on there as well.
You see in the little blurb about it, it says, must-have gifts.
And I agree with that one on this item particularly.
I'm tall, but sometimes I still have to use one.
That's right. They're very handy. Okay, next item up. Okay, a lift chair. We talked about not being able to get up out of a chair, so this is a lift chair that is electric, and it will lift you in the position that you see so that you're practically standing up in the chair.
For people who have Parkinson's and other type of neurological involvement, this is so wonderful for them. My mom had one, my brother has one at the nursing home where he is, and it just helps so much for them to get to that position where they're almost standing. Mm-hmm. You can get these chairs that massage, that have heat, and they come
lumbar
in
support.
Such a wide price range. You don't have to get something that's $3,000. No.
Right.
What is this one? Do you see the price?
Scroll up just a little.
For this one?
Actually,
it's free. No.
Yeah, we wish.
$299.99.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's wonderful. That's, $300 for that chair. And, what a difference it makes. I was seeing my 6'5" brother trying to hoist himself out of a low leather chair, and it did not feel good for people to be on the side always with the hand underneath the arm pulling him up. With this lift chair, it has really, really enhanced his quality of life.
And let's think about a couple of other features as well. For example, this one has upholstery on it. Mm-hmm. We want people to be aware that, there may be some incontinence as you get older, and perhaps you need a cover on an upholstered chair, or perhaps you need a leather chair that is easy to clean. There are upholstered arms on this that look like they have some cushion to them. Now, since this is a lift chair, it's probably not that big a deal, but on recliners or rockers or other chairs that you might have in the room, those upholstered, cushy arms on those things are not much to push against when you're trying to lift yourself up. Seat height is important. There are very few pieces of furniture that I've seen that have a really good seat height to them, and so they're low by default. Sometimes you can actually buy furniture legs that will go underneath, and you can install them yourself to raise the seat up, and you just have to be take care that they don't tilt then if you're doing something that wasn't from the manufacturer. But there are lots of things to think about with these, and I encourage everybody to go to a local store where they sell these and try them out. We've put them in here because we want you to be thinking about them and looking at them, but truly, if you have an opportunity to go somewhere and check them out, that's very important. And the other thing I can say is that not only the seat height, but the seat depth, because my mother is 5 feet now. She's shrunk considerably in her 92 years, and most chairs don't fit her very well because they're too deep, and she can't even put her feet on the ground. So she's had to go out in search of chairs that have less depth to them, and she truly can sit in that without feeling like a child.
Well, of course, my husband and I buy furniture based on our height and need, and it always makes me laugh when my friends come over and their legs are sticking out.
And they're dangling.
One thing I wanted to point out about the lift chairs, if you are going to purchase a lift chair for your loved one who is going into a nursing home, you do need to check. There are restrictions on the type of material that it's covered in. Okay? Just want to point that out.
And one final thing is keep in mind that these are electric devices. They plug into a wall. And it is not unheard of to have your power go out while someone is in a reclining position in one of these chairs. So it's good to have a plan for how you will get somebody up if they are reclined and the power goes out. I have seen people panic from that, and I'm not sure.
I know some of them have manual mechanisms. It's also good to look into that so that if it does happen, you know how to manually work the chair.
Good idea. Okay.
I never
All right,
thought
next
of that.
item. All right, now we're looking at wheelchair ramps. If you have mobility issues in your household and you need wheelchairs or scooters or walkers and people are going in and out of the house, it's always nice to have these ramps so that they don't have to step down from something. They can roll down or up. And these have non-skid surface to them. There are huge varieties of these. We're not going to spend a lot of time here. We may show a couple more of those.
But I will tell you, having the ramp when my mother was in a wheelchair, just the lip going from the brick patio into the kitchen, the lip there, it made it so difficult to get her in the house. And at first when my husband came home with a wheelchair ramp, I go, oh, what are you doing? We don't need that. What a lifesaver on everybody. It made it so much easier to transport her in and out. And when it's easier for us, we don't create stress for that person who's sitting in there, because that can be really scary. I know a couple of times, my mom would get really upset because I was getting upset because I couldn't pull the wheelchair in. So I absolutely loved having that ramp. Loved it.
Absolutely.
And small ones like this also work well for people who are ambulatory but maybe have neuropathy or just a fear of falling because they don't have to lift their foot and step over one step, like to get in and out of a house.
That's
when you were showing the little strips that go on the stairs, it's very unnerving. Like if you're entering a theater and it has a slope down or it has that step and you have a problem with perceiving the distance. So any of the aids, like the thing that you showed, the grippers for the stairs, or like this, can really be helpful.
Yes, they can. And the good thing about these ramps is these that we're showing are portable. You can get ramps that are permanent. You can rent ramps for your home. And also, in some communities, there are faith-based organizations and perhaps others who will come in and, for the cost of materials, will build you a ramp to your house that is permanent. So those are all things to think about for mobility. All right, next up, more ramps. This one's 8 feet, 4 feet. They come in all kinds of lengths and all kinds of slopes. All right, now we're on transfer benches. Many of us have showers in our homes. They're tubs with showers, and it can be difficult to get the legs over the tub wall. And so that's really what some of these transfer benches are for, is 2 of the legs are in the tub, 2 are out, and this helps you slide into the tub in a way that is useful to you. And then you can sit during the time that you take a shower. Some people don't have the strength to stand for an entire shower, and so these are very useful for those applications. Another variety, and you'll see that all of these have capacity weight limits on them. So if you have larger people in your home that are a little bit heavier, be sure that you're looking at the weight capacity of these so that you know they're going to stand up to what they need to do. This one is a swivel variety, and that's really the difference in it. So you could turn it sideways, get in, and then just swivel around to where you need to be. All right, wedge pillows. You know, we hear a lot these days about sleep apnea and people who need to use CPAP machines to breathe at night when they're asleep. And this is so critical because I had a neurologist tell me one time that when you have sleep apnea and you are not treating it with a CPAP or some other device, it is like flogging your heart. And so you really are taking some health risks if you're not treating health or sleep apnea. But these wedge pillows are something that help you sit up. And as you can see from this, it has a lot of different positions that you could be in. It also elevates the legs. So those things are nice to have on your bed.
Karen, I know my brother with his Lewy body dementia and Parkinson's, and my sister with her early onset of Alzheimer's, sleep was not good. Sleep was not good, and these pillows, because you can do so much with them, I placed a pillow under my brother's arm, and so it brought everything up, and it just made all the difference in the world. Sliding a pillow under the knees, so many people have the lower back issues, and just all the stimulus that's coming into the body. If you can get them situated, it's a blessing.
Absolutely. I agree. Okay. Then we have some high-tech devices. This is a medical guardian. These also come in all kinds of varieties. Usually you need a subscription, a monthly subscription that you'll pay for when you have one of these, because there's somebody on the other side when that button is pushed that is monitoring. They're monitoring for any problem that you might have. A lot of them have an option of fall protection. Some of them will detect falls, some will not. Some of them you can use only in your house. Some of them have, as this one does, the GPS tracking so that wherever you go, someone can find you as long as you have that device on your body. And so this would be good for people with dementia who wander. And it would help you to find their location if they left the house with you unaware. And again, that would be the cost of the device plus a monthly subscription service. There are many manufacturers and suppliers out there who take care of this kind of service for you. Now, this is a little bit different thing. This is a siren with a strobe light. It's a keychain. It's for self-defense if you're out somewhere and you're worried about security. Probably this is just a pull-apart device where if you pulled it apart, it would make a very loud noise and probably scare away any sort of attacker or somebody who's trying to do you harm. So there are devices out there like that, and so they're just called personal safety alarms if you want to look those up and find some that seem to suit your purposes. Jane, you want to talk about this?
Yeah, Dysum is one of the tools of the trade that is very inexpensive. You buy a roll of it, and it's somewhat sticky, but not overly sticky. So you can put it on a bedside table, and coffee cups or alarm clocks or lamps or anything else that's easily tipped over is no longer easily to tip over. You can put it on a wheelchair, lap tray, and a person can put their silverware, their plate, their cup, and again, it's easily affixed without being too sticky. It's really something that I think just about everybody should have in their household, and just cut a piece of it whenever you need it to keep something stable. Many of us, as we get older, are more prone to just kind of knock things over if we're trying to turn on a lamp or turn off a lamp. This kind of stuff works really well.
So
under it.
I'm very intrigued by this. I've never seen it. So what is the surface of, say, like a bedside table once you peel it up?
You mean if you put it on wood?
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt the wood. It's sticky. It's sticky on both sides, but it's not so sticky that it's going to leave residue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's really intriguing. I'm going to have to get some of that, order some.
I like that as well. I had not seen it before, so thank you for that.
Former special ed teacher.
There you go. You know the tricks. I love it. Okay, this is just so low tech. This is literally a coach's whistle or a referee's whistle. They hang around the neck. If your loved one is going to the garden or somewhere else and they don't have another means of signaling somebody if they get into trouble, they can just simply blow a whistle and somebody can hear that and perhaps come to their rescue. Now, Jane, you had something you mentioned about whistles and a disability, possibly with, if they had a disability, it wouldn't work very well. Pulmonary issues.
I remember, yes. Yes, if you have pulmonary issues, whistles are not going to work very well because you can't breathe quickly enough, but a bell works better. What I thought you were going to say is I do keep a bell on the entrance hall to my mother's house because she has hearing aids, and she doesn't wear the hearing aids when nobody's there, so she doesn't hear me open the door and come in. So I come in and ring the bell very loudly so that she knows I'm there. Used to, I would go stomping down the hall so that she would hear me, but this is a little more safety because she knows it's me, as opposed to maybe somebody else breaking
that
in.
is. That's great. I love that too.
Simple but easy.
Okay, and so here we have a car handle assist, and this literally hooks in that bolt that's in everybody's car at the back of the door frame, and you can put that on there to lift yourself out. I will say it probably takes a person about the size of the man that you see in this photograph to use that, because if you're very large, it kind of gets in the way as you're getting out, but they are very handy to help people get in and out. In fact, my mother, who is fairly small, used this and was able to get into my vehicle a little bit easier, because otherwise she has to reach up for the built-in handle that's up above her head, and that's not the easiest thing in the world. So these are very helpful to have. All right.
And that's a good price. I'm going to have to order one.
That is a good price.
Pretty inexpensive. All right, next up. All right. Everybody needs help getting dressed at some point, and we're going to talk about a few dressing aids, and we'll just walk through these pretty quickly. This is a long shoe horn. You know how you get your shoes hooked on the back and you can't quite get your heel in the shoe, and so this helps you with that, and you don't have to bend over to use that. It also says sock remover and shoe helper, so yeah.
You know, a lot of patients with Parkinson's, they have to have a shoe on once they get out of bed. So
diabetics also.
If you think about having to go to the bathroom and then getting back in bed and then having to get up again, to have that assistance, it's really important. It's really helpful, because my brother and my mother could not walk without the shoe on.
Right. Absolutely. Okay, and then we have a sock tool. So you put the sock over the little tool, and then you just grab the handles and pull your sock on, and that tool slides right out. And this is unusual. This is a dressing stick, so it's got a couple of little things on the front end of it there, the little hooks, and you just kind of hook your clothing into that and help pull it on. Maybe you've had shoulder surgery or something and you need some assistance in getting a sleeve on or something of that nature before you're fully
you have
mobile
a frozen
again.
shoulder, bursitis or something.
Absolutely. And then, I love these. These are to button your buttons. You just literally, as the photo shows, hook that button and pull it right through the loop, and you're all set to go.
Yeah.
Very handy tool and so inexpensive. Assistive utensils for eating. People often have times with grip as they age. And so these are just larger handles that you can wrap your hand around. I know that in my family we have orthopedic issues from time to time, and hands start to lock up, fingers start to lock. And so this is very helpful so that you don't have to close your hands so tightly. I own these. I love these. They are for getting items out of the oven. I literally use these gloves, and I personally do not need a mitt or anything else, pot holder, to get items out of the oven. And they come all the way up to probably a couple inches close to my elbow. So they're very long. It helps when you're reaching down into an oven and the oven door is in front of you and you accidentally bump that oven door. It can give you some added protection for that. Transfer sheets. If you have especially upholstered car seats, sometimes it's difficult for people to slide in and out of cars, and particularly if they have certain fabrics on in their clothing. Also in the wintertime when static builds up and all that stuff. So these transfer sheets are very slick material, and they allow you to just slide right in the car and slide right back out again. We have one. My husband has one. He loves it. You've seen these in facilities where people use the gait belts to help people stand up and walk after surgeries or due to disabilities or whatever the case may be. All right. We have two different products. Catherine, go.
Well, the other night, they came in to take my brother to have a shower, and he was just too weak. He was too weak to go to have a shower. Of course, he would be sitting on a shower chair, but he was just, it wasn't going to happen. It's so nice to have something like this. So you can get in bed, put your pajamas on, get in bed, and feel clean and comfortable. So I highly recommend any kind of disposable, having those available, the washing, rinse-free bathing wipes.
Right. And the next product is very similar. It's from Stryker. And our local hospitals use these. That's where I found out about them.
Mm-hmm. That's where I did as well.
And they're literally used for healthcare teams to help bathe people when they can't get in the shower. All right, Janie, you're up.
Well, I think one of the things we've focused on so far a lot is daily living skills and being more independent. But we need to remember that people also have a lot of free time, particularly if they're in retirement facilities or in bed a lot. So thinking about the kinds of things they like to do or liked to do. Mm-hmm. All too often those toys look like children's toys, mm-hmm. or they're too complicated for adults. So we've picked out a couple of things here that are simple recreational activities for people that look like they're for adults. And they're mostly games and puzzles and activities that you don't have to win. There's not a competition. You're just playing with it. And a lot of times people with Parkinson's, people with Alzheimer's, they have to have something in their hands. They have to be doing something. So these kinds of things really help to pass the time and give them something to do.
I'm going to order that.
That's a good one.
And people with dementia often like to have something to to fiddle with, to fidget
Yeah.
with. Yes.
Yes.
And you could probably address that better than I can, Jane. Tell me a little bit about
Well,
that.
just absolutely, whether it's anxiety, whether it's just sporadic movements, giving them something to do not only makes them look more competent to other people, but it relieves their anxiety and gives them something to do. I like the toy we just saw, and I really like puzzles for people because it gives them something to do with their hands and keeps them occupied.
Okay. All right. Next up. The garden kneeler. This summer I was privileged to host someone who was talking about lifelong gardening in our podcast, and he absolutely recommended these. These can be right side up as you see it here, and they can serve as a seat in the garden, and it's very portable. And you can flip it over and it serves as a kneeler so that you can kneel down on the cushion, and then when you're ready to get up, you have those handles there that can help you get up off the ground. So that would be extremely important to me. And there are a variety of products in our garden tools that you can take a look at as well.
I've been using those for years, someone with bad knees, and they are wonderful, wonderful. I don't go out and do any gardening without taking my little
Absolutely.
chairs.
And then for people who love to write or need to write, there are pencil grips, again, that keeps the hand rather open and you don't have to close it down so tightly and risk locking up your fingers and joints. So that's what that's all about. Then we get into mobility, and we're going to move along pretty quickly because I know that we're having a very long podcast today, so we're going to keep it moving. There are all sorts of varieties of mobility solutions. There are walkers, there are rollators. The one you see here is a rollator. It has 4 wheels, a seat, kind of a back to the seat, a storage container underneath, brakes so that you can stop it when you're ready to. This one has a 350-pound weight capacity. They're excellent, and particularly around the home if you just need a little something extra. And, you know, Jane, you have talked about working with an occupational therapist or a physical therapist. So walk us through some of these mobility solutions and give us some of your expertise on those.
Well, I don't know that I'm the one to give expertise, but I think it's really important when you look at any of these mobility devices, even if it's something as simple as a cane, but certainly when you move all the way up to walkers and rollators and wheelchairs, that you have an occupational therapist or a physical therapist working with you to make sure first that it's the right device for the person and that the person knows how to use it appropriately. Because sometimes it's very seductive to start looking at these things and thinking, oh, I'm going to get one of these, I'm going to get one of these, but it may not be the best for your family members' needs. Right. So I'm a big believer that you work with a physical therapist or occupational therapist.
And Jane, people can arrange that through their primary care physician.
Yes.
They don't have to go looking themselves for an occupational therapy. They can say, can you refer me, or can you have someone come and look at what our needs are, and they'll come to the house.
Yes, they will come to the house. Yes.
Good tips. Okay. So this is just slides for a walker, and we'll move on along to the next thing. Okay, so you have manual wheelchairs that have no electricity. They are totally human rolled, whether that's the person seated in the chair or someone pushing from behind. They often have handlebars. They have huge wheels. This one says they have desk chair arms, and so that means that there's kind of a little half arm there, and then you'll see that the lower frame extends further out. So that helps you roll underneath a desk and use that while you're seated. Not all of them have those desk arms. They have full arms on them, so just look for those features. The flip-up foot plates, and probably removable. A lot of them have removable. There are so many varieties of wheelchairs, of power wheelchairs, and we're going to just flip through some of these right now that we have here. This is an electric. It has a joystick on it. It's collapsible. There are so many features to look for, and I've been going through this year looking for various solutions. This one is collapsible, Some of them fold in half side to side, and the handles just come together. It depends on how you're going to use it, who's going to be in the chair, who's going to be pushing it, how much the chair weighs, how much the person weighs that will be in the chair. For electric models, what is the motor power? What are the features on it? Can you actually lift that in and out of a car? And how can you use it? And how can you use it in the house? Don't forget that there are cabinets in front of you in the kitchen. And if you have a foot plate extending out in front of that chair, you have to be able to get up to your cabinet or roll under a cabinet toe kick or whatever the case may be. So lots of things to think about. Mm-hmm. And while we have put those up here for you, we highly recommend that you go to a store that sells these items for durable medical equipment or mobility solutions, and just make sure that you can use the product. A lot of stores that I know will allow you to take one of these out into the parking lot and see whether you can lift it into the car and get it out, or what you need to do. So, this is very personalized, and it needs to be fitted to each person and how they will use it. Additional comments about that?
No, I think you're absolutely correct, and I'm glad you're emphasizing that. I think the only thing that I would add is that I think when we have an elderly parent or a spouse or a sibling, even if they're fairly mobile now, I have found that having a folding wheelchair is essential if you take someone to a new restaurant, a park. I took my mother to her grandson's graduation, and we just didn't know how far someone was going to have to walk, whether there would be accessible seating. So I bought just a real inexpensive foldable one that I just take in the car anytime I'm not sure how far my mother's going to have to walk.
We did that as well. The transition wheelchair used just for getting someone into a building. The point both of you were making about the safety and making sure the person can operate it. I told Karen about one of my sisters was insistent on having a scooter for our mother, and she got in it and used the joystick and promptly ran into the wall and broke her wrist. Mm-hmm. And that was not good, because I mentioned she had Parkinson's, and not having the ability from her right hand to push up and help. It was a mess. So that's really good. Take it out in the parking lot and test it out.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I will say, depending on where you're going with the wheelchair, if you want one that's portable and you're going outside the home with it, and even inside the home, be very careful about turn radius for these vehicles, because you may have very small spaces you're trying to go into. Doctor exam rooms are notoriously small, so getting just the smallest mobility aid into those rooms and out is a real chore. And the wheelchairs, some of them have 0 turn radiuses on them, especially the power variety. But the scooters that have the longer body, some of those need 4 or 5 feet to turn. And so be sure to look out for that as well as you're thinking about these items. Well, ladies, we've got another category of clothing, but I think we're going to just let people look through that as they get into the shopping guide and take a look at what all we have here, and we're going to call that it for today. So I just want to thank both of you for being here with us today. Mm-hmm. You have added so much and given so many tips about things to look for, and there are many more that we didn't have time to even touch, but we are happy to offer additional programs of this sort that will help you. If you just leave a comment for us, we're happy to see what we can do about that. I want to reiterate that, things are, anything that someone thinks is a gift to them is a gift. And most of these items are very useful things. And so if you find things when you go home for the holidays that you think your family can need, or you get hints from them even during your holiday conversation, jot those down and see if you can't do that maybe next year or during a birthday or Mother's Day or Father's Day, whatever the case may be. There is so much to learn and so much to know about caregiving, and we thank you all. This is, in November, is National Family Caregiving Month, and we want to thank all of you who are caregivers for your families and your loved ones and for taking good care of people. That really is a big part about what life is all about. So thank you, Jane, and thank you, Catherine, for being with me and for your considerable help with this.
Thank you, Karen.
You are quite welcome. And I want to say thank you to our audience today, our listening audience, our viewers and our listeners for being with us. We hope that you'll find something of use in our gift guide and in the tips that you've heard. If you haven't already done so, please be sure to click that like button below your video screen. If you'd like to see more of our videos, click the subscribe button, and be aware that you can also click the share button so that your family and friends can see this broadcast as well. We'd also like to thank Senior TLC, formerly known as Pace at Home in Newton, North Carolina, for sponsoring all of our Caregiver Community podcasts, and to Every Age, our sustaining partner. Please join us again on Friday, December 5th for our next episode. We have a truly uplifting program planned for both caregivers, self-care, and for those in your care. You can view the replay of today's program through our website at www.acapcommunity.org or find the audio podcast as part of the Mesh network of online shows and podcasts. You'll find us on any platform where you listen to podcasts as well as on our website. Finally, we have a rapidly growing number of local community chapters offering in-person monthly programs. You can find information on that on our website as well. Until next time, be well, happy holidays, and bye for now.